to do now is talk about the brave new leaders in technology. And to do that, we have three very brave new leaders joining us. Taylor Bodman, Global Head of HR, Ops and Systems, Brown Brothers Harriman. Also with us is Marcus Treacher, Global Head of E-commerce, PMC at HSBC, and Steve Ellis is the Executive Vice President, Head of Wholesale Services at Wells Fargo Bank. Thanks to all of you for joining us. Let's start with, how is the role of technology, the role of technology professional, how is that role actually changing within organizations, and what does that mean for the industry?
Well, think first of an Olympic athlete. The role hasn't changed at all, but the training methods, the nutrition, the economics, the media that's required in that space has changed a great deal. And so it is with the role of the CIO. Maybe the role hasn't changed, but the expectations to perform at the level required today are so much greater, broader, higher.
I think, if anything, the focus on being more commercially aware and taking more time to see and feel what is about to hit the industry in future, that's more important now than it used to be. So I think CIOs are increasingly having to balance the kind of the right side creative element of the thinking with the more traditional management of technology within an organization.
And how are they doing that?
To varying degrees of success. I think we're seeing, in my view, I'm seeing a lot of CIOs who are spending more time researching and more time working with their business, focusing more on really the needs of their business, the needs of their clients, and kind of moving from support roles to leadership roles within an organization.
Is that what you're finding at Wells
Yeah,
Fargo?
I think since the last 20 years when we started seeing PCs and then the internet and now mobile and social and all these things happening, it's changed the nature of how people think about technology, and it's taken a bigger role in how we deliver products and services to our customers. It's not a solution itself, it's an enabler, but it's really brought IT up forward in front of, higher up in the company, I'd say. And I think the role in my mind's always been this role where you're really trying to make sense out of IT and how the business works. And if you have IT people who understand the business and business people get IT to some degree, you're going to find you're connecting things better and you're delivering better products and services and value to your
That's
customers.
a little bit tougher, isn't it? I think it's probably business people understanding IT. How is that working for you guys?
Well, it's a two-way street, right? You need all kinds to make up a good system. But it's not just the role of the CIO that's changing, it's expected throughout the organization. At my company, we have a saying, no more BRD, no business requirements document. It's not as though something's designed over here and developed over there. These are people collaborating. You've got to have a prototype technique of saying, do you want it like this? How about that change? And there's immediate feedback going on. That's the dialogue that an IT person should have.
I agree. I think collaboration is absolutely critical. And the closer people can work with their colleagues who have different disciplines, the quicker you can innovate, the less mistakes you make, and I guess the closer you get to what your organization should be doing for its clients. That's very, very important. I subscribe as well to the idea of no documentation between handoffs, plenty of prototyping and plenty of collaborative work.
You know, in our session yesterday, we were talking about what you need out of an IT leader, and people said, well, they had to have a tech background, and I have no tech background.
You have no tech
No tech background. No, I'm a quant jock by nature and a bar owner, actually. And we were having this conversation. To me, it's like, how do you make some of these new things, devices, whatever they are, PCs, feel comfortable to business people and how they use them? And then if you can sell that vision to the tech people working for you who really are writing things, and they see how what they're doing is providing value to the company, you make that connection between IT and business, and that's how you have to do it.
Don't you find, though, maybe sometimes it's difficult because organizations are still working in silos, no matter what people say, it's still happening, isn't it? So, I mean, especially when you work in a big global company, it's like turning a jumbo jet. The left hand never really knows what the right hand's doing. So, don't you find in an environment like that, it's difficult to bring technology into the front office, into the strategic side of the business, and actually sit at that table with those CEOs and actually make them think about how the decisions that they're making, how it's actually going to affect long-term the CapEx spend of the company in terms of technology, how they're going to make what they want to do happen with your expertise.
Right, well you bring up organizational design. And if you want to have a silo, have a center of excellence. And this is a plan for people, some firms, to put systems somewhere else. And today I think we should think more about clusters. And so to ensure that the CIO and other systems executives are sitting right next to, having a regular dialogue, regular interaction, intersection with not only the other disciplines, but really a broad cross-section of the company.
You make a very good point. I think that it's a balance between creating the closer interaction, as Taylor said, getting people working together, co-locating, really focusing on common problems with different expertise. On the other hand, the big company, you have to maintain the division of labor. You have to have people focusing on those systems, focus on data protection, data security, all the good stuff that we do for a living day in, day out. And you kind of got to balance both off. But I think close proximity is critical to getting the CIO accepted as a leader in business versus a supplier to a business.
So I've been kind of lucky. I've been at Wells 25 years, and Wells sort of has a culture of innovation and using technology to provide value to its customers. And that starts, it's at the top of the company and down like all the way through the company. So I've been somewhat lucky. I think the issue you run into is sometimes other things pop up. So a lot of people here are certainly talking about compliance and the regulatory impact and how it slows you down and creates challenges. And I really think your IT leaders now have to help people figure out, look, you got to deal with that, but the world's changing pretty fast, and we got to change with it, right? And you can't say, I can't change because of those things. I have to look at what's out there, but realize where the value's going to be for the customers.
Go ahead.
It's more important now than ever because we've come through an era of automation. We've achieved that, but we're not stopping now. But to get beyond the automation where you wanted to batten something down and deconstruct it, find a standard to it, a code to that standard. Now we're ready for more innovation, and we can reassemble the digits and bytes that we've put together here. So at a great period where you need to have the different disciplines co-located, co-creating, if you will, the next products.
You say that your company has this culture, and you've been there for 25 years. What advice would you give to other companies to instill this culture? What specific practical steps do other companies need to do to have a similar experience to Wells Fargo, for example?
Well, I'm not sure I should tell you that, but I'm just kidding. I think part of it
you'll have
is
to kill me afterwards.
how do you make these new things not feel scary to people, right? So mobile is a whole new world for a lot of people, right? But it's been out there for 6 years, maybe 7, when you really think of how it's brought the virtual and the physical world together. So a lot of what we try to do is how do you make that feel the way a layman would think of it, not some weird thing that's out there that they'll never understand. How do you make it practical in how they help their job? So we create things like the day in the life of a CEO, the day in the life of a CFO, the day in the life of a cash manager or a credit person, so that you can make it feel real to those people that are the senior executives. And then once they see that, they're pretty smart people to begin with, then they can start seeing the value that's going to bring to their business.
But for me, what I do with my world is have my technology teams and my design teams work very closely together. I co-locate them. We run teams around the world, Hong Kong, UK, Vancouver, other locations. In each location, I have a whole range of disciplines, from the artist to the engineer to the policeman, working tightly and closely together. And that would be my advice. Close contact and kind of get those skills really working and complementing each other.
Look, I'm just going to agree. That's the simplest thing you can do. And you'd be surprised how many firms aren't doing that now, especially when there are cost pressures. The tendency to say, let's outsource this, let's put this somewhere else, is just an expense. This is the time to rethink that with systems. We're at a wonderful moment where we can be no longer the back office, but front and center with the products.
Do you think there is a role for Swift to play here in this particular discussion that we've been having, and what role would that be?
Well, the main mode is to realize that we do have a lot of duplicate processing power and applications amongst all of us. So where's the shared space? How might we do things together? We've done that already for 30 plus years with Swift in terms of the messaging, but I think there are new applications available to us, and it takes it takes collaboration and a co-opetition, I think is the fancy word.
Co-opetition.
Vision. Yeah, I subscribe to that. I think to my mind, Swift is the canvas on which we can create. Okay, so it gives us the forum to share ideas in a tribe, for example, at this conference. It gives us the railroad on which to run our common infrastructures, and it also gives us an outsourcing play that hasn't got that lock-in threat. I mean, we collectively own Swift. It's our organization. So it's a great place to put common processing, and also a great place to work new ideas. So it's the easel, I think, in which we create.
Okay, well, we'll leave it right there. Thanks very much for joining us today.